So I think it's not about trying to find the perfect plan. It's not about that. It's about committing to having a plan that's good enough to get started. Hey guys, Griffin Cooper here from Ablewaytech, and in this video we're going to talk about the importance of having a trading plan. So as we look at the importance of having a trading plan, we're going to look at what it looks like to go from forethought or thinking to putting that plan into action, the sense of agency that can come out of having a trading plan, how it can be a yardstick to actually measure performance objectively, what I like to call it's the right way to be right when trading, leads to these objective assessments, and perhaps the biggest is that this trial and error and tweaking can lead to iterative, continuous improvements. I think one of the most foundational and essential elements for profitable, consistent trading is having some kind of written plan, and that's because it forces some kind of planning and forethought to the act of trading. So I know that I do believe there must be some kind of edge, or there's some reason I think that I can make money in the market. So what is that edge, and why do I think it's going to work? It kind of forces me to actually look at that and kind of record it so that it's not just in my head. It's something, why do I want to participate? I have some kind of reason to enter a trade. So what is it? We can practice from going from vision to implementing a strategy by kind of operationalizing those beliefs and applying them. Having a trading plan can also give you a strong sense of agency, which is very important for the practice of resilience. I would contend it does not have to be the best plan ever. To me, trading plans are always evolving, just like the market is evolving. We're always adapting. But I would say it does have to be written down so that I can measure if I can follow my trading plan, for one thing. I think doing this really gives you a sense of control when you're about to dive into a chaotic, uncertain environment like the markets. And by having a trading plan, you can feel a little bit more secure. It's much like, to me, it's like putting on your seatbelt before you drive in a car. It reduces your chance of accidents, or maybe my driving instructor used to call them collisions, because he said nothing happens by accident, someone caused it. So we have to put our seatbelts on before we go drive in the markets. So I also think a trading plan, one of the best things is that it can give you a yardstick to measure performance, so that you can see how you're actually doing on executing your trading plan. And when you're actually in the act of trading, that's a way to measure it, because one thing Van Tharp wrote was, anytime you don't follow your plan, it's a mistake. And if you don't have a trading plan, everything is a mistake. And I have found that to be true as well, that the impulses that can happen when trading are just too great to go in there without having a plan. So when we have a plan, that's how we can measure our performance. Assessments and debriefings of your trading plan is a really important part, I think, of any successful trader's process. I always quote Dr. Alexander Elder, who said, "Show me a trader with good records and I'll show you a good trader." On the topic of assessments and debriefings, I think just basing the assessment on did I make money today can really lead to a lot of repeating the same unuseful behaviors if you're not learning from your experience. So rather than ask, did I make money today? If you have a plan you're committed to following, you can assess your trading on the basis of, did I follow that plan? Because we can't always be right about the market, but you can be right about following your trading plan. So that brings us to the next slide that I would call the right way to be right. And it's really important, I think, when trading, that having a plan does give you something to be right about. We're not going to get rid of that ego. We just have to learn to use it in the correct way. So trying to be right about every trade is, for me, really painful. I never know what's going to happen in the markets. I can't will the trade to work. It's out of my control. But what I can control is if I'm going to follow my plan or not. Also, having a trading plan gives you assessments, lets you make assessments in an objective way. So you can gather evidence and data from a series of trades that have consistent variables. the same principles that work in the scientific method, right? You can look back during a periodic review as part of your debriefing process, and after a certain time period or number of trades, and then you can objectively assess how your plan is working. You can ask, is it producing the desired results given the market conditions for that period of time? Is there something that I want to change? Maybe it's not working for me at all. Maybe there's a major conflict between the market, the system, and myself that I need to address. And I don't know any way to make these important assessments and decisions without first having a plan that you can base your decisions on, so you don't get lost in the impulses of the reactions of uncertainty. And finally, when you're working through a plan and continually updating it and adapting it and assessing it, it leads to what I think is the only thing that we can really do, and luckily it's the best thing that we can do. It's trial and error and tweaking, which is, to me, how we get continuous improvement, those Pareto-style improvements. I think trading without a plan can lead you to chasing your tail, where you keep making the same mistakes and you're not really, like we talked about, making the right objective assessments. I think a more useful approach is to become what I would call a ratchet artist, where you tweak your plan one variable at a time. I like to do that if I'm in the middle of a review. I'll ask, what's the one thing I know I could do to improve my plan? Like, what's the no-brainer thing that would make it better? And then what we are doing is we're tapping into this ultra-powerful process of trial and error that's really built into us, into our DNA. You know, if you study this kind of tinkering, iterative process, it's the way most of civilization's major advances have occurred. And I think the same is true for trading. You know, you look at like the airplane engine, that wasn't devised, ahead of time. They just kind of stumbled upon it through trial and error. So I think it's not about trying to find the perfect plan. It's not about that. It's about committing to having a plan that's good enough to get started. And then I can just improve little by little as I gain more experience and knowledge and actual, doing it in the workplace, that craft knowledge that there's no substitute for with head knowledge. These are all just words if we don't apply them. And I think over time, that will produce major improvements. I hope that video was helpful and informative. Click the link in the description to check out our trading courses at Ablewaytech.com. You can also sign up for our monthly newsletter and our weekly blog there. And don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more lessons and trading examples posted each week. Thanks for watching.